Hi. Well, we're doing something quite exciting, which is a variation on a pancake. And this says farine de Saussan, and that is buckwheat flour. They make them like that in Breton, in the north of France. I think this particular buckwheat tradition is simply because the stuff grows where wheat doesn't. And let's open it and see what it looks like. I've never done this before, but the other thing is I'm not using milk. I'm going to use kefir because I have it. Oh, look at the colour of this. A magical brown colour. Look. And it has a different smell altogether. This is not a grass. That was a bit loud for you, wasn't it?
Yeah,
sorry. Right. It's not a grass. It's related to rhubarb, and it will shallow root and do all sorts of things, hold soil together. And I wonder what they'll turn out like. You excited? Mm. Now, we do get these down here, but they add half flour. Flour has gluten. This is gluten-free. So we're going to try it. So I'm just going to put some of this in here. Am I weighing it? No. I'm just going to sort of guess, really. See what it looks like. We need enough of this to replace the milk. I think I've got pieces of fruit in here, so that's why I'm being quite careful. It's been double fermented. It's a wonderful looking product, actually. This was my third fermentation from a so-called pasteurized bottle I bought in the health food shop. Look at that. Right. That's mixed. And it really is. I think you could do with some more of the flour. I'm not experienced with this. I don't know how thin your mix should be. But that looks like a good mix to me. And it behaves like it's a wheat flour, to be honest. Took a bit more, as I was expecting a wheat flour to take. Now, these eggs. The general rule of thumb is you make it that sort of consistency, like cream, and then you add enough of an egg or eggs to make it a pretty yellow colour. Now this is brown, so I'm going to make it not quite such a pretty yellow colour. And this recipe is always able to self-correct, depending on what sort of flour. I'm inclined to put one more in. Well, that looks like it's gone a yellow colourish to me. Yeah, bearing in mind it started quite a deep brown. Look at the difference. That was the original, and you can see the difference there. Look, the colours. So I think we go for that. Now, this is an incredibly nutritious way to eat because you're full of probiotics. You're full of all sorts of amino acids. I don't know how many you're going to kill off in the heating process. We'll try not to frizzle them. But even if they're not that, you have got vast amounts of B vitamins. It enhances everything that's good for you, both the kefir and using this flour. Using the kefir should make it fluffier because it is a sort of self-carbonating thing. It flows less than when I make it. It's slightly more viscous. It's not thicker, it just flows slightly differently. Now look, we've got lots of little bubbles forming. And it's a different texture. It's not holding in the same way, so I'm going to cook it more thoroughly before I turn it over. Interesting, isn't it? Oh look, it's slightly more brittle than a pancake made with flour. Well, wheat. What do you think of the smell?
Smells good.
It does, doesn't it? It's more flavourful. And that took slightly longer to cook than wheat, but we'll try it. So this is buckwheat, and it seems to be grown anywhere that is pretty inhospitable. It needs a shorter growing season. So people in the mountains, they use it across the planet for making noodles and all sorts of things. But there are special techniques because, as I say, it's gluten-free. Let's just see whether that's got a nice brownness to it, nearly. So it does take longer to cook, but I think it might be more filling. But it certainly should be better for you. Well, that was not difficult, was it? If you haven't got kefir, there's no reason why you can't just simply use milk. But I have the fermented milk, and I'm into using kefir at the moment. So it's certainly more bubbly, but whether that's, I think that may well be the kefir, because it's a carbonated drink. I bet it would make wonderful pancakes using kefir. So basically, to make a pancake, you put your flour and your liquid, which is in this case kefir or just ordinary milk, together to make a cream, a nice cream, which you could see was not a heavy thick cream, but not one of those runny milks. So it's in between. And then you add enough egg to make it a pretty yellow colour, which does dilute it down and make it more runny. And that's a pancake. They are all made like that. They don't need to measure them. They're very straightforward. And if you haven't got an oven, you can make a pancake. If you are camping, you can make a pancake. Yes, I use a bzz, but you could just beat it with a fork. You can make pancakes anywhere. These must have been the original food for people before they had time to make their breads and oven-baked foods. And look at this. The other wonderful thing about buckwheat for people in history is that it's very easy to process. Very easy because the husks float in water. So you just put them in and the husks come up and off you go. So it's easy to process, guaranteed to grow in a short season, about 3 months. It's ideal for inhospitable mountain terrains, ghastly country, in other words. Good idea. Yes, they're not round. Oh dear. Oh dear. I think they would work very well with something robust like grated cheese. Yeah. I think they'd work very well. No, I haven't managed to make them into a circle. But look, it's bubbling. It's got a lot of gas still in it from the carbonation process. Quite quite magical, isn't it, what you can do? I've added more mixture to see whether we can get it into a circle this time. You see, it pulled back. The tricks I use for doing the other one don't work with this one. So we're going to do this by just rolling them up like this. And then you're supposed to be able to eat them. Take a little taste of this. They lend themselves much more to a savoury filling. And they are more granular. And they've got more bite. I feel you're eating something. I don't think they'd work at all with something like apples and sugar and cinnamon and no. This is a savoury product. It will probably go very nicely with a fried egg, bacon, the sort of savoury products. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice indeed. Let's eat.